Hey everybody, Tim here with today's Star Wars review, part 1 of season 2 of Rebels, and oh my god, what a opening it is. So I'm going to do the first 5 episodes. Coincidentally, the first episode is actually a 2-parter, so it's technically 6 episodes, but whatever. So the first episode, Siege of Lothal, I can't even, the emotions in this episode are just outrageous, where we see the Vader going against Minister Tua, I think is her name, and it's just she never really interested me in season 1, so I was like, whatever. But seeing Vader again and Ahsoka, so we pick up right after the end of season 1, the Minister, where Vader's just we need to get the rebels out, and the Minister's that's a little extreme for me. So she just completely defects, and she's like, you know what, I'm gonna find my own way out. Of course, Kahless follows her, blows up her shuttle, and blames it on the rebels, and you're like, wow. It's just, boom, right off the bat, they are just coming at you. I love some of the funny lines. This story does a really good job of balancing the funny and the serious. And some of the funny, where we got the cadet of Ezra, and he's like, you will let us through. And he's like, did you just give me an order, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no. What he said was, you will let us through. And Kanan gets him by. And then there's just the line of Ezra where he's like, I wish that worked for me. I wish that worked on you. And I don't know. For whatever reason, it struck me amazing. And I paused it, I laughed, and then I kept going. So it was great for me. The fight was insane. I can't even, if you haven't watched this, stop watching. Nothing but spoilers. But Vader versus Ezra and Kanan, it's not even a fight. It's just Vader. Just, whatever. For one, Vader is so tall. Obscenely tall. Which is funny, because in the, like I said, the scene where it's Cadet Ezra, I understand Ezra's 15, 16, but still, he looks so short compared to Kanan. Kanan looks like a child compared to Vader. Because Vader, I think, is supposed to be 6'2" or 6'3", which is slightly taller than I am. So, but to look at this, I'm like, damn, Vader is so tall. And they're both just attacking him, and Vader's just one-handed. Okay, are we gonna fight? What is going on? And then he just backhands Ezra, okay, we're done. And then when he's trying to make Ezra kill himself with his own lightsaber, it's so weird to just finish Clone Wars and watch this and be like, that's Anakin. I can't, my brain can't accept, that's Anakin, that he has actually been brought to that point where he's about to make Ezra kill himself. And I'm like, I don't know, it's so weird. The whole scene, and then the flip parts where Vader is just being a badass, I'm like, that's Anakin, I get it. All the debris falls on him and he just picks it up. Or where Sabine shoots at him, she shoots 2 shots at Vader, and he's just ding, ding, and it, not only does he deflect it, but they hit her. And, not only did he, deflect your shots, but he made you basically shoot yourself. I was like, that's the badass Anakin that we all know. So I was like, okay, that's it. So stuff like that. And then again, this show is so good. They're it's dark. And then he's badass. And then he's Tarkin Town, burn it. And they're like, why? The rebels aren't there. And he's like, did you just question me? I said, burn it. Burn the whole town. And it's Anakin, what are you doing? To just binge watch all of Clone Wars and then to watch this show, it's heartbreaking to see what Anakin has become. It is so hard. They bring in Lando, and I was like, why does Lando have to be brought into this? When they finally get to the fleet, and it's just one TIE fighter taking out their whole fleet. And I'm like, okay, again, we flip to the badass, and it's like Anakin's the best pilot in the universe, the galaxy. Yep, it's one TIE fighter taking everybody out. And I noticed it's a little overplayed. Like, I loved it, but it was too much. Like, I think like 3 or 4 times they say, in a row, they say fear, anger, and hate. And I'm like, yeah, we get it. It's the Yoda quote, fear leads to anger. Like, we get it. Okay. So, but still, stop. Like, one time was enough. But like even Ezra's like, I'm so cold. I feel fear. And I feel anger. And I feel hate. We get it. Like, okay, you're quoting Yoda. Fine. Move it along. The line, the apprentice lives, I lost my shit. I couldn't do it. And I was like, oh, like, it's so much. And then, of course, when he gets trapped in the tractor beam, honestly, like, I'm kind of split on that one. Because I was like, it's kind of like, really, would he get caught in that? But then, like, I mean, he is human, and it is Anakin, so, like, he was distracted by Ahsoka, so maybe he was just distracted, and that's why he got caught. Or the other, like, how else are you going to get the ghost to escape, realistically? So I was like, I guess if you had to do it, that's how you could do it. And then finally, the final, like, where Vader's talking to the Emperor, I did a little bit of research. Evidently, there's 2 versions of this episode. One where it's Sam Witwer doing the voice of the Emperor, the guy who voiced Maul, and he, like, Starkiller and stuff like that. And then Ian McDiarmid, the original guy that played Emperor Palpatine, also did a version. So I was like, that's kind of cool. And he's like, okay, we're sending another Inquisitor, done. But still, like, we got Billy D. Williams in this, we got Ian in this, we got James Earl Jones in this. Like, this whole thing was an episode by itself. Like, it was pretty amazing. So I absolutely loved it. And again, just Vader, so the other thing is where he's like, the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker lives. And I was like, oh my God. And I think, in my opinion, I could be 100% wrong. In my opinion, this episode takes place, and then the last part of Clone Wars takes place. Where, like, I think after this, he was like, Ahsoka's alive? And then he goes to the planet, and then that's where he finds his lightsaber, or her lightsaber. Because, I don't know, I feel like he would have done more digging and stuff. But I think after he's like, she's alive, then he goes to the planet, then he finds her lightsaber, and then that's kind of where the rest of it takes place. I don't know, that's kind of my opinion. So I'm curious what you guys think about that. Oh my God, this is going to be a long video because we got a lot to talk about. Episode 2, Lost Commanders, again. Oh my God, I can't even with this. Where Ahsoka is like, I'm going to go have you go get some help. Well, who is it? It's just some help. It's a friend. It's a great military leader. And I'm just like, who could that be? Who's a great military leader? Is it Jar Jar? Who is it? Which, by the way, Sabine changed her hair color, changed her armor. It's cool, whatever. And it's just like, trust him. It's like, what is this about? So I didn't get it. And then when she's like 7567 with the droid head, and I was like, 7567, 7567. That's a clone number. I didn't know who it was, but I was like, that's a clone number. I did get that far. And then when the 3 of them walk out, I was like, oh my God, it's James Arnold. He's voicing clones. What? I had my fangirl moment. I was like, what is this? This is going to be amazing. And they're like, it's 3 old geezers. And when they're like, 7567, and they shoot at him, and they're like, sorry, weapons malfunction, but we're clones. It's Wolf, which, Wolf with the eye, I got. I was like, okay, Wolf, they've aged, but that's the thing. I've aged, whatever. So I was like, okay, so we got Wolf, Rex. I kind of cried. I'm not even going to lie. As soon as they announced it was Rex, I was like, I didn't cry. I got goosebumps. But I was like, oh my God, it's Rex. And Gregor. And I was like, Gregor? out of all the clones in the entire, like, of Clone Wars, you picked the guy that had one episode that was, like, the missing in action guy who we thought died? I was like, Gregor seems kind of weird, and he evidently lost his mind, and his voice got higher, so I was like, that's kind of weird. They all have their little scars because they had their chips removed, so I was like, that's kind of cool. Kanan tells Ezra about, like, the order... execute Order 66 with the clones, and I was like 15 years ago. And again, they make it seem like it was so long ago. And I was like, it was like 15 years ago. BFD, whatever. Them using Zeb as bait for, like, the giant dune-looking worm to eat him. And then, of course, Wolf's the traitor. And I was like, oh, that's disappointing, but still. So, overall, fantastic episode. Super excited to see clones again, especially these three. This is the episode I cried. Relics of the Old Republic, episode 3, where, for one, actually, yeah, it was towards the end, but the beginning, when Kahless calls, and he's like, what are you going to do? Send those stormtroopers after us? Ooh. Just, to see, because that's a big debate. Like, I remember discussing it with my friends and everything, like, what's the difference between a clone trooper and a stormtrooper? And it's like, well, I don't know. And so to actually kind of get, like, that confirmation of, like, there's a difference. And, I mean, overall, like, this was, like, when episode 1 came out, or episode 2 came out. But now that we actually got all of those answers, like, it's kind of like, there's some big differences. But still, I was like, oh, well, what are you going to do? Send those stormtroopers after us? Oh, BFD, we're not scared. So I was like, okay, whatever. So, the whole, like, going into the sandstorm where we'll be blind. Well, the Jedi won't. We got 2 of them. Okay. Can't see anything, and it's very, like, reminiscent of episode 4. Like, take the helmet off, just shoot. Okay. We see the new Inquisitor, and then the moment I did get misty-eyed, I'll admit it, 100%. Granted, I've been drinking a lot, I'll admit it. When Rex and Ahsoka see each other, especially after season 7 of Clone Wars has now come out, and seeing what they went through, burying all of the, like, wearing all of the clone troopers, stuff like that, everything from season 7, and then they evidently parted ways, and then to see them hug again after 15 years, like, yeah, I was like, oh my god, like, this is a thing, this is happening right now. Episode 4, there are always 2, there are Jedi line, or Yoda line, obviously, because it's backwards. It's okay, pretty quick. Ezra trying to lift Chopper using the Force, and him using the magnetic thing. I do love that Kanan and Rex are, like, going back and forth, where Kanan's just like, use the Force, and Rex is like, use your eyes. Like, clearly he's, like, using magnets and stuff like that. Ezra can now understand Chopper, which is a development from season 1, and we now have a female Inquisitor. So we have 2 Inquisitors, voiced by Sarah Michelle Gellar, who played Buffy in, like, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, lots of, like, slasher horror movies, stuff like that. Like, was she in Scream? I think she was in Scream, and I Know What You Did Last Summer. Most importantly, she's married to Freddie Prinze Jr., the voice of Kanan. So I can't wait for them to share a scene together. I'm curious, but assuming they recorded them together. The last but not least, because this is a long-ass video for Star Wars, Episode 5, Brothers of the Broken Horn. Again, kind of a filler episode. Vasago's ship, the Broken Horn, has a distress call. Ezra, who is overwhelmed from his blaster training and from his Jedi training and from his Hera cleaning the ship training, just wants to go off, so he answers the distress call, and we meet Hondo, voiced by Jim Cummings once again. Boop! That guy right there. Met him several times. And so, I don't know, like, Hondo fit really well into Clone Wars, because I felt like Clone Wars was kind of more of a kid's show, whereas Rebels is more of an adult show. And again, every time he talks, I just hear, like, the main guard from Aladdin. And so I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, he's a great voice actor, but I can't take him seriously. And so, like, and now Ezra's going by Lando instead of Jabba. He needs to stop picking people you know. Just pick somebody else. So I was like, okay, as Morgan shows up, Vasago is not like, he didn't lose the ship in a card game. He's just in the brig. And he's like, you owe me a favor. And I was like, I knew that was going to come back. But I don't know. The whole thing just seemed a little over the top for me. So overall, still 5 episodes. The first 5 episodes of Season 2, huge star. Even the filler episodes are amazing. I'm absolutely loving it. This is a fantastic series. So, curious what you guys think. Let me know, and I will see you guys next time for part 2.